Greetings from the 2016 National PE and School Sport Institute, held on the campus of University of North Carolina, Asheville.
On behalf of Bulldog Athletics
And the North Carolina Center for Health and Wellness, we would like to welcome the hundreds of on-site attendees this year.
We would also like to thank the thousands of off-site viewers from around the world.
Wait a minute. Are you going to be here this summer, Manny-O?
Well, let's just say this summer I will not be in the beautiful city of Asheville where I typically train, but I want everyone to know that as a certified physical educator, this is my next best place to be.
In any case, we would like to welcome you to the 2016 National PE and School Sport Institute.
Yeah, let's go get them.
Go
High
team.
five, baby. Go team. Let's do it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the University of North Carolina at Asheville, the North Carolina Center for Health and Wellness, Great Activities Publishing Company, and the North Carolina Athletics Department, I'd like to welcome you to the 2016 National Physical Education and School Sport Institute, held on the campus of UNC Asheville. So thank you very much. All of you here on the live audience and there in off-site, we'll just call you off-site. I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to introduce Janet Cohn. She's the athletic director. She's here to bring us greetings. Janet.
Thanks, Artie. I am here on behalf of Chancellor Mary Kay Grant. I want to bring you greetings from her and also to welcome you to the University of North Carolina, Asheville. You know, we are #1 in the country in making an impact. And I want to say this as a former physical education teacher myself. You haven't a chance because you're here to make an impact. So I'm going to challenge you to be #1 when you go back to China or to California, wherever you go, to make an impact. #2, if Chancellor Grant was here, she would tell you something about our university, and she would say that we are a university of thoughts and actions. And boy, do you have a chance, not only with what you're learning, to convey that knowledge, but today more than ever, we need physical educators and coaches and people involved in health and wellness and sports to get our country up and moving and be people of action. That is very, very important to our health. So once again, I want to welcome you here. I'm looking forward. I'll put in a pitch. I have a session at 2 o'clock that's entitled, All I Ever Needed to Know About Being an Athletic Director and College Coach I Learned as an Elementary School Physical Education Teacher. So, yeah. So once again, welcome to UNC Asheville, and I want to really, this hasn't been done yet. This guy here is phenomenal. Let's give it up to Artie.
It is my distinct privilege and honor to introduce Sarah Gitcher-Hartman. She's our first keynoter. Sarah is a middle school physical education teacher in Clayton Public Schools right out of St. Louis, Missouri. Are you turned on? Are you wired, ready to roll? Let's give a big hand to Sarah.
Welcome, Dad. I know you will.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for coming to the PE Institute. And I just want to take a second to thank Artie. And I also want to thank our audience that's watching online. So thanks for tuning in. We'll let that brighten up a little bit. Today I'm here to tell you that getting out of your comfort zone is not the key to good teaching. Getting out of your uncomfortable zone is. The comfort zone is a fine place to be if it's rewarding and fulfilling. The uncomfortable zone, I'm here to say, is the place you need to escape. I want you to take everything you've ever been told about getting out of your comfort zone and throw it out the window. No, seriously, help me out for a second. Take everything you've ever been told about getting out of your comfort zone, crumple it up in a ball, okay? Find a window, there's one over there, and chuck it, okay? I'm sure that most of you have seen posters that look like this, or this, or this. We've been told that in order to take risks, we have to step outside of our comfort zones. Today I'm here to challenge that idea and redefine what it means to be in the comfort zone. The uncomfortable zone is a place where you feel awkward and cramped and uncertain all the time. When you're there, something just doesn't feel right. Getting out of the uncomfortable zone is really difficult. You can stare out on the horizon and catch a glimpse of a way out, but you won't always know how to get there. Now, don't get me wrong. Being in the uncomfortable zone can be fun at times, like playing volleyball so much in your class that your students become the best players in the district, or combining classes to play a giant game of kickball, but the novelty wears off quickly. I spent half my teaching career in the uncomfortable zone. My 5-year-long stay was due to two things: inexperience and conformity. I felt like I was too new to teaching to ask questions like, what is our budget? And what are the essential things we need to teach our students? And I conformed to what was going on around me to fit in both professionally and socially. My uncomfortable zone was a place where I didn't understand why the PE equipment was kept in the boys' locker room, or why I was given a lanyard with 25 keys to various doors and closets when my male colleagues were given one master key. I was frustrated that my students' grades were determined based on their ability to get dressed for class, and I was mortified that they sometimes received a grade for how many laps they could run around the track within a certain amount of time. It didn't feel right when I sat in a lawn chair with my peers in the middle of the field watching my students play. It was really weird that I didn't have a curriculum document. I loved teaching, but I wanted to actually teach my students. But I was stuck in the uncomfortable zone. I felt too awkward, too embarrassed, and too uncomfortable all the time. But the good news is I made it out, and I'm going to tell you how. There were 3 really big things that helped me on my journey out of the uncomfortable zone. The first was Twitter, the second was an article I read, and the third was my peak learning experience. In February 2013, I had the opportunity to attend a local technology conference. Session attendance was limited, and one of the only sessions left for me to go to was about using Twitter for professional development. Twitter, I thought? I don't Twitter, I Facebook. So I somewhat reluctantly went to the session, and to my surprise, I was hooked within minutes. I created a handle, I started following physical educators and organizations, and I even started interacting with real people. These are the first 8 people that I talked to on Twitter, and some of them are here. The teachers on Twitter were eager to connect. They shared ideas, like Matt Pomeroy's plans for his school's celebration day. And that's a giant climbing wall they had, in case you can't see that. They celebrated awesome days in phys ed that had fitness games, archery, fire building, and s'mores. Hey, how cool is that? They shared ideas for new activities like Blue Jay Bridge's modified version of volleyball called Jungle Ball. They asked questions that pushed my thinking. They asked for help and advice. And they didn't hesitate to give it back in return. I also started to realize that some of them had spent time in the uncomfortable zone too, and they weren't afraid to share their experiences. Twitter became the supportive learning environment I was craving, and the interactions I was having with my colleagues gave me the confidence that I needed to keep questioning what I was doing and gave me the courage to start breaking out of the uncomfortable zone. In April 2013, I stumbled upon an article by Joey Fite called Collect and Defend. Joey was hired to teach 345 students just 2 days before he was needed, and he would have to assess those students and submit their grades within just 3 weeks. So he decided to create a fitness unit where his students would analyze their own fitness levels, determine what they wanted to improve, set a fitness goal, and create an action plan. And he kept track of all of his students' work on paper, which means that he collected, wrote feedback on, and graded 1,035 worksheets. When his supervising administrator came in and questioned the grades that he submitted at the end of the term, Joey literally had 1,035 pieces of evidence to show what his students had learned. Now, up to that point, the part of my teaching practice that made me feel the most uncomfortable was my grading system. While I knew it wasn't right, my students' grades were based on their ability to get dressed for class and participate in every activity. I remember sitting at my desk reading Joey's article and realizing that if a student or a parent or an administrator walked into my office and asked me why a student received a particular grade, that I wouldn't be able to answer the question. And it was really embarrassing and uncomfortable for me to realize that I didn't have any data to back up what I was doing. Joey's article was the push that I needed to spend every free moment I had that spring and summer researching standards-based systems in education. I read books, I started networking with colleagues in my building, and I started creating a system to implement that fall. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but the third thing that helped me on my journey to the comfort zone is what I now refer to as my peak learning experience. I first learned this term from Lindsay Simpson. I agree, Betsy, I agree. Lindsay spent 10 years as the physical education coordinator for the Vermont Agency of Education, and she now works as an organizational wellness lead for an employee benefits advisor. According to Lindsay, a peak learning experience is a high point, a memorable moment across the lifespan. My peak learning experience was when I decided to stop conforming to what was going on around me and start doing what was best for my students. Before the next school year started, I completely overhauled everything. I created a standards-based system and decided that all of my lessons would be linked to clear learning goals and objectives. I got rid of my old school strict rules and instead adopted one rule that gave my students ownership over their classroom and their behavior. I added tons of new activities to my curriculum. I started playing small-sided games every day. I started making dressing out optional and instead encouraged my students to wear what they felt comfortable and safe in. I helped my students become problem solvers, and I started giving them the opportunity to make choices in class. It was as if I had spent 5 years sitting in a metal folding chair and then suddenly realized I had a cramp in my leg. The chair may have served its purpose, but it was really uncomfortable. And once I made these 3 discoveries, Twitter, Joey's article, and choosing to do my own thing, I was immediately in the comfort zone. And my metal folding chair turned into a sweet couch from IKEA. In 1908, 2 American psychologists, Yerkes and Dodson, found a connection between performance and anxiety. They said that our performance increases with mental and physical anxiety, but only up until a certain point. Each of us has a threshold or a moment when our stress and anxiety becomes so great that our performance decreases. I believe that in order to leave the uncomfortable zone and enter the comfort zone, we have to actually discover what our individual thresholds are so that we can be in the comfort zone where we will experience maximum performance and a healthy amount of stress and anxiety. I discovered my anxiety threshold in 2013, and it was my ticket to the comfort zone. The comfort zone for me is a place where I feel productive and creative and relaxed all the time. It's a place where I'm able to embrace new challenges and take risks and grow. Being in the comfort zone is really difficult. It takes a lot of work to stay there. But it's a place where I'm able to say no to the status quo, gain confidence in my teaching practice, and do what I can to become an innovative and effective educator. Alan Henry, the editor-in-chief of Lifehacker, wrote an article called "The Science of Breaking Out of Your Comfort Zone and Why You Should." And in the article, he said that there are 4 really big things that you get when you break out of the comfort zone. I disagree and think that he has it backwards. I think that you actually get those 4 things when you choose to step out of the uncomfortable zone and step into the comfort zone. The first thing that you'll get is that you'll be more productive. Your productivity will increase when you choose to take on a healthy amount of stress that gives you a positive and safe environment to work in. Your focus will sharpen, your energy will increase, and you'll start to make decisions quickly. The second thing that you'll get when you get to the comfort zone is that you'll have an easier time dealing with new and unexpected changes. When a curveball comes your way, you'll knock it right out of the park because you'll be operating at such a high and optimistic level. The little things that seem like really big things to other people won't even bother you. The third thing that you'll get when you get to the comfort zone is that you'll have an easier time pushing your boundaries in the future. You'll take on a little bit more than you thought you could. You'll do what it takes to get to the next level. And you'll even have time to acknowledge and work on your weaknesses. And the fourth thing that you'll get when you get to the comfort zone is that you'll find it easier to brainstorm and harness your creativity. You'll become what author Todd Henry calls an accidental creative, someone who intentionally builds structure into their life to increase the likelihood of creative accidents. Creative accidents are those brilliant ideas that we seem to get in the weirdest moments, like when we're driving to work, taking a shower, or marching in place trying to get more steps on our Fitbit. The more we use our creativity, the more that we have, and the easier it becomes to come up with ideas when we actually need them. Now, if you're itching to get out of the uncomfortable zone like I did, you won't have to cash in your precious airline miles for a sense of adventure and exploration. The open road is calling your name. But before you hop in your car, you're gonna have to do a little bit of planning first. So I suggest that you head to your local AAA and pick up a copy of the Comfort Zone Tour Book Guide. And in it, it will tell you everything that you need to know about planning a trip to the comfort zone. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of my very favorite section of the book, 10 essential travel tips to get to the comfort zone. Tip number 1 is determine the purpose of your trip. What is making you uncomfortable? about your teaching practice? Are you currently able to put your beliefs into practice? You need to be the one that's constantly assessing where you are and determining what you find important as a physical educator is the first step you need to take when planning a trip to the comfort zone. 2, select your route. Plan a trip that meets your needs and is tailored to your learning style. The more time you spend planning your trip, the better off you'll be in the long run. 3, find a tour guide like Tour Guide Barbie, okay, and find some travel companions to go with you, okay? Think of your tour guide as a mentor, somebody who lives in the comfort zone, someone who's positive, somebody who can help you learn and grow. Navigating the roads to the comfort zone can be really difficult at times, and traveling solo can be scary. I did that. So you might want to call up a travel buddy and share your adventures with them. 4, pack light so there's room for souvenirs. It's inevitable that you're going to collect some really cool things like squeaky rubber frogs, Muggle Quidditch goals, inquiry-based questions, augmented game boards, spike ball sets, and sweet dance moves. So you better pack light and maybe even bring an extra bag. 5, know your travel style. Are you the type of person that likes to have a tightly scheduled itinerary, or do you prefer spontaneity? Do you like to make checklists and create goals, or you go with the flow? Do you like to go, 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 or do you like to stay in one place for a long time? Knowing your travel style is key when planning a trip to the comfort zone. 6, fill in your stops. You're going to want to make a list of attractions that you might want to see, like historic landmarks like the PE Institute or the Shape America National Convention. Maybe you want to go to local hotspots like a state convention, a demo slam, or the Phys Ed Summit. Or maybe you want to go to some quirky destinations like a dance workshop with Mackenzie Mushel Ellis or a Cuckoo Kangaroo concert. I went to one yesterday, right? 7, be flexible. It's inevitable that things aren't always going to go your way. You're going to encounter barriers that impede your access to learning. You might have to contact your mentor or ask your travel buddy to help you plan an alternative route. So be ready for all of the unexpected adventures along the way. 8, talk to the locals. For the most rewarding and authentic travel experience, talk to the locals. Strike up a conversation with as many people as you can, as often as you can. Head off the beaten path to make new friends and learn new perspectives. Intentionally surround yourself around people who have different experiences and ambitions than you. 9, visit rest areas. While you're taking a break to use the restroom and grab a snack from the vending machine, take some time to reflect upon your adventures. Taking the time to intentionally think about your experiences will actually bring forth new learning. And 10, documentation. You're going to meet some amazing people on your journey, and you're going to learn things that impact your instruction. And you're not going to want to forget those memorable experiences. So make sure that you take pictures and video, jot down notes in your travel journal, send tweets to friends, update your Facebook status, and make sure that you keep in touch with some of those friends that are in the uncomfortable zone, so maybe you can get them to come join you. Now, I'm sure that some of you are thinking, Sarah, I'm not a member of AAA. I can't get this cool fictional book that doesn't really exist, okay? And I would love a copy of those 10 travel tips. So pull out your phones, okay? Here you go. And when you have pulled these up on your phone, I would like you to start imitating the GIF that's on the screen. Get out of your seats so that I know you're ready to move on. It's one of my favorite GIFs. So once you pull it up on your phone, get to the website, I want to see you stand up and join me so that I'm not the only one pretending to be Shaquille O'Neal and a weird cat. There we go, there's one. We'll see whose Wi-Fi's working. Here we go. JJ's up. This gift makes me feel like I know Shaq, like that's what he's like all the time. I don't know. Nick Spencer, good moves, buddy. More and more people. Help get your brains active. Good. It's hard to keep going. I like twisting. Okay, so a lot of you are ready, I think. So, if you're ready to come join me in the comfort zone, pack a bag, grab your keys, call up a friend, roll down your windows, and crank up the tunes. It's time for a road trip, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.